Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. Getting ready to round the day out with Demise versus Barrage. Demise are in circling the drain. They're not in anything. They're in deep doo-doo. That's what they're in.
Yeah, they are. they've really struggled to pick up many wins, I believe, sitting 2-9 currently. And honestly, earlier on in the season, I would have said Barrage would have been a team for them to likely take down. Actually, it was one of the Mise's only wins versus. I know one of them was obviously Eminem. Was the other one Barrage Academy?
I can't remember. That's really bad, actually. That's really bad.
Anyway,
we'll look it up and we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll find out for you. Either way, the Mise, they have to win all of their remaining games. Unlikely, but possible. It's a tough situation to be in as a team, especially the Mise have traditionally been in the top end, middle to top end of the pack, really, in the UKLC since they've been here. Last split making it into playoffs, third, fourth, I believe, finishing at the end. Very tight season. Summer was much like this one, except this time they find themselves in the relegation, and for Barrage themselves, finally trying to find a little bit of success since the split up of UKLC into the NLC. And we'll have to see whether their academy team can do it here. A win here definitely pushes them into the top 4. As we're finally here to pick some ban.
We are. We saw Olaf in the last game, and I think that's the last time we're going to see him today. Oh, it definitely is.
Well,
Olaf has been banned away.
One more, yeah.
Camille and Hekram also denied. I mean, I'd love to see the picks and ban stats on Olaf in our league, because I'm pretty sure it's 100%, or it's got to be.
I will
flipping close.
I'll go grab it for you right now as we cycle.
There we go. Well, I'll do picks and bans then while you do that.
Yeah,
This is teamwork.
Give us some predictions. Yeah, give us some predictions.
Unlike if anyone has done a group project at school or uni, we're actually working together to make a product work. Anyway, Seraphine, Udir, and Kindred banned away. A lot of attention towards the jungle coming from the side of Demise. Barrage, not so much. They obviously did ban away the Hekram, but things like the Graves are still open if they want to pick that. But obviously the Kaiser, the most high priority pick really for them. Get that for KZ. And over to Demise now. What are they going to look to pick up?
So, quick fun stats before Demise hopefully lock in their early rotation. There are 3 champions in the UKLC as of today. Before today's games, that was at a pick and ban rate of 97.8%. Can you guess which 3 they are? Actually,
Olaf?
it's only 2. It's only one of them is obviously Olaf, and there's one other pretty obvious one.
Camille? No. Hekram?
No.
Oh, Udir. God.
No.
Oh, yeah. Of course, Udir wouldn't have been banned at the beginning of the season. Who is it? Kaiser?
Seraphine.
Oh, yeah, Kaiser. Pardon?
Seraphine.
Oh, I'm a moron.
And actually, technically, these stats should kind of be a little bit incorrect because they're taking into account mid plus support. So I guess she actually has a slightly higher pick ban rate than that potentially. Yeah. As Demise, their rotation is the Lilia. We've seen Hanka on that quite a few times, and also Samira for Andrew. Samira, we've not really seen have a lot of success.
If we had I don't think we've had a good game from a Samira yet. Like a 1v9 performance game from a Samira yet. Jamada's now on stats, so he's just going to be looking stuff up right now. It's like when you give an old person Google for the first time. No, I can look up anything.
Samira has won 3 out of 8 of her games so far in UKLC. Not including today. That's a Kha'Zix. We'll get to that in a second. And I want to say that the only time Samira has actually won is in the hands of Yusa, so that's technically cheating the code. Kha'Zix, a very interesting champion. We've seen it rear its head, I believe, once, and it was King that pilot.
Yes, and I can't remember because we had where Gore Drinker won in the NLC, and I'm fairly certain King actually went the Duskblade build.
I want to say he went the Duskblade build.
It was the Gore Drinker one we had in the NLC, where it's like the tank Kha'Zix and you rely on your base damages. King went for the assassination build. I would like to see the Gore Drinker build. I would really like to see the Gore Drinker build with what
the Mise are actually showing at the moment. I think Gore Drinker has a lot more value, just because of the amount of CC available to the Mise already. I think if you're trying to play Kha'Zix as that full lethality one-shot champion, you make one misstep, you're probably just going to immediately die. So we'll have to see what the Mise are actually looking to do to sort of round out what is likely going to be their solo lane picks. Renekton banned away from Aragon. I wouldn't be too surprised to also see that followed up with an Aatrox ban, though they might not want to double dip into the top side bans with Gragas there, because of course it can end up on the bottom side in the hands of KDO. As Barrage banning away Poppy. I don't think Rifty's actually played Poppy because it might have been banned ever since he played it that one time versus M. As time is ticking, I want to see if they do ban out the Aatrox here. So I think double dipping into 2 top bans when Gragas is on the table is a bit weird.
All right, well, there goes the Leona.
Yeah.
And we're going to see now what the final ban is from the side of Barrage. Going to be the Darius, so they're just targeting Rifty now.
Yeah, showing a fair amount of respect because we did... Oh god, I'm glad you was not here for the Enclave Demise game because we had the Gragas and Darius lane play out. Wasn't pretty. I'll just leave it at that. If you want to go back and potentially lose... Do you have perfect vision, Jake? You've got 2020 vision?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your 2020 vision. Pantheon just made it all the way through to phase 2 pick ban. So
That's weird.
That's also another weird thing. So that's technically still a flex because the Lilia is there on the table. It does mean it can end up top or mid depending on how Pillar's feeling. But with the Azir lock-in, I imagine they're probably going to send this Pantheon to the top side and they give Pillar a more comfortable matchup to deal with this Azir unless they really want to throw Pillar to the wolves on this Pantheon pick. And very strong rotation to round out Barrage's composition. Azir plus that Galio, plus the Alistar, quite the Galio. As we'll see what Demise going to lock in for their final pick. They've been pretty spicy on these R5s.
Well, there it is. There's some spice. They're locking the Echo for the mid lane. So it will be Rifty navigating the Pantheon. Echo versus the Azir. It feels like there's obviously the assassination potential and like safety on after the assassination potential pre-6, post-6, sorry. But like pre-6, it just feels like Thomas is just going to keep Pillar at arm's length the entire laning phase.
Yeah, it's actually considered a bit of an Echo-favored matchup, particularly more or less outside of lane. Sort of similar to the Syndra one-on-one. Azir can't really deal with the amount of burst damage that Echo should be able to put out within that sort of, E or O, Q combo, walk away. The only thing you can really do is shuffle him back underneath the tower if that's what's actually occurring. But of course, you can just chrono shift back out and, totally fine. Don't really have to worry about it. And your ultimate as the Echo is almost always going to be lower than the Azir's. So you can just kind of make those trades happen time and time again. You win out priority on the side lane and you can start making plays, hopefully towards the mid lane, unless a dive onto that Azir if he has to hold you as fruitful.
Yeah, post-6, it is a rough matchup. It's just the pre-6, I worry about the laning phase and the amount of poke you're going to take from the Azir. But after that, it's kind of just, Pillar should just be fine to navigate this lane and kind of all in whenever he pleases, to be honest, unless, he makes a bit of a mistake. However, we are getting through and loaded into our 4th and final game. I also said second there, our 4th and final game of the day. Now, remember the stakes here. So, Demise, if they lose this, that's it. They're in relegations. Every other game doesn't matter. If they win this, they still have to beat both London and Resolve to keep themselves within a chance of avoiding relegations. But even if they win all their games, they still have to rely on other teams to drop a bunch of games. So it's like, it's in their hands, but it's also in other people's hands, and you're kind of just holding boiling water at the moment. It's really hard to do. So we have to see whether or not Demise can be able to do this.
Yeah, it's like hot potato, except you can't throw the potato anywhere else. The potato is actually just a hand grenade. Already had his pin pulled. So, Demise, maybe they surprise us, but London and Resolve in the same week is not the ideal final week that you're looking to round out your split with when you're trying to survive relegation at the bottom of the table. And I mean, here for Barrage, if they can win here, it pushes them into that top 4 spot. Of course, Eminem and Bulldog losing out, still staying at that 5 and now I believe 7 mark in the scoreboards. It's
Absolutely
impactful for them. It's impactful. And I'm not sure on the head-to-heads. Obviously, we'll get all of that research done for you so that we have confirmation on who actually wins out in scenarios where we end up with tiebreakers, because I think inevitably we will end up with those.
Well, things are tight. Things are tight. I'm sorry, I zoned out real hard there. But
it's okay.
Yes,
I could
things
see
are
it.
tight right now. We're heading on to the Rift for our 4th and final game of the day. God, I need to wake up. Oh, actually, I don't need to wake up.
No, you don't.
It's 9 o'clock.
It's pretty late. Yeah.
Wait, no, you can't say it's late, mate. It's like you're gonna finish this show and be like, might have some breakfast. Time for some cornflakes or something. All right, what is top tier cereal? I'm not talking about League of Legends anymore.
Golden Nuggets for me.
Good choice. Good choice.
Good fan of Golden Nuggets.
Golden Nuggets are a solid S tier.
Was
S
that the
Observer's with
observer?
us on
Was
that.
he agreeing with us?
That's an agreement.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna put it here. Cookie Crisp are also pretty pog.
Yeah, Cookie Crisp are okay. I'm not against them. So
No, you should be for them, my man.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not against them. I'm alright with those. I'm not like a crazy big cereal eater. You know, I'm relatively bare bones on the cereal.
What is a normal breakfast for Jamada then?
Normal breakfast.
Let's talk about your dietary stuff.
My dietary. Okay, so normally eating 3 to 4 times a day.
Okay.
Breakfast is normally something relatively light, you know, peppermint tea or coffee and like 2 slices of toast, something along those lines. Sometimes I might have something a bit like hefty, sort of oven food meal. Sometimes, if Mother Jamada's feeling very kind, I will get, you know, full on like near full English breakfast.
I mean, a full English is like,
Yeah, that's
that is just top tier. It's just a pig because first of all, it's not that healthy, and it's also quite a lot to prepare and quite a lot to tidy up. And sometimes, most of the time in the mornings, I can't be bothered to do all that washing up after.
But my mother's hero, so she doesn't mind. After that, lunch is, well, it's lunch. It's kind of, you know, kind of get away with bigger meals. 50. Oh, 50 trays. He's got the corrupting pasta, so he's gonna be fine. Anyway, so lunch is pretty
Back to me.
inconsistent. Yeah, back to me. Something protein heavy. So normally, you know, something with chicken is kind of the deal. And then recently, honestly, sort of in the evenings, I've been kind of pigging out. Or like in the back end of my day, I've been pigging out on like takeaway stuff. But normally, it's a nice home cooked meal. Sometimes I'll cook, sometimes my mum will cook. My mum's cooking is far better than my own.
Always the case.
Almost always the case. I mean, I see. The thing is, the one thing I do, God forbid she's listening. I feel like I do have some Caribbean, which is she quite doesn't. Not the Caribbean parent, so she doesn't quite have the, things like beef or curry goat. Probably losing a few people, but things like.
I genuinely want to try your Caribbean,
dude. Next, when the world allows us to, I promise you, I'll.
Good. That's what I want. Anyway, there's a game happening and Pillar's getting ganked. King jumping in onto him. We just filled the time. That's all we did. Pillar gets chunked and Pillar gets out.
Yeah,
so that's the flash, though.
Yeah, they burn the flash. That's the important thing. We already know what the UKLC is. First or 4 minutes, normally there's nothing going on. So we filled the time with
exactly.
Pillar, you could see, was actually winning out on the trade, but just a poor time to actually go in and take the trade. So unfortunately for him, has to blow the flash. As it shouldn't necessarily impact the lane too much unless King actually makes a return. At which point, Pillar, unless he has the Ulma available to him, he will die. But been doing pretty okay in the CS department, considering he's ranged into, or melee into range. It's a nice engage.
2-man headbutt pole. They do actually have their jungler about, but great block there with the whirling blade from Xandru to make sure, because he doesn't get chunked too hard by the void. And this wave's going to get pushed in. It's not in the most favorable place, not crashing quite yet, as Rifty, great Aegis, going to be able to trade up very, very confidently to Aragon there. Meanwhile, they will be able to finally crash this wave bot side. So KZ, KDO will be able to take a recall if they please. They have already had a cheater recall, both of these bot lanes, so they picked up the cull. So have a little bit of scaling options to them available.
Yeah, very, I'm not quite sure when they both managed to get those cheater recall, or maybe they just reset at the same time. But injection of gold will come at a later time, and as you correctly pointed out, Pantheon, still Pantheon. He's not going to be gone until, well, this is the last game he's probably going to be present. I believe next week on the next patch, where he's not really much champion anymore.
Thank God for that.
Thank goodness for that. Thank you.
The, exciting trade down here, but nobody's dying. No real breakout as Dragon is up. Could see whether or not King's going to look to try and solo that one up. Pillar jumps in onto Thomas, and Thomas just puts the soldiers a little bit too far forward, so he will lose that trade pretty heavily, actually.
Yeah, I got
King not on vision yet. He hasn't been seen, so good engage could be it.
Whoa.
There's the flash. There's the headbutt and the pole. Whirlblade gets used, and that's first blood for King. Xandru chunked out, but able to survive. Great engage by KDO there.
Wait a minute. Okay, I have a special request, Observer. When you give us this replay, can you just try and give us a slow-mo on when Samira's using her W ability? Because I think KDO's stun can be Samira W.
It's not projectile though. Oh, really?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll trust our observer because he actually is an AD carry player. But I thought it only blocks projectiles.
I guess. I mean, we're gonna see it in the replay. It was a very nice gank setup. As Kuzi is the target, and let's just get. What?
Yeah, it didn't block it.
Okay, nerf this champion into the ground, please.
I mean, to be fair, it's not a projectile, it's an auto attack to get the Alistair stun.
I mean, I get... I don't know,
If she could block auto attacks with that W, that would be madness. That'd actually be madness.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that one. That feels like KDO kind of got wrong. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, unfortunately for Barrage, not able to get a full double kill, but the end result is still that they get the dragon on the back end. As could see synced resets come in. I think Kuzi may attempt to interrupt that. Yeah.
It's KZ, that was a bit disrespectful based in there. He's actually going to lose.
He's going to miss out on
a wave. He might just have to cancel the reset. No, he's not.
No, so he's more interested in making it to the top side. Unfortunately, that's just going to be a wave. Summoner's Rift, potentially going to hit level 2 here.
Imagine if that was a tactic. You could level your towers up by letting them last hit and get experience.
That would be cool. That sounds like a Dota mechanic.
That does sound like a Dota thing. Yeah.
I'm not really.
We don't talk about the dark side.
I know nothing of the dark side, but I do know they have some pretty bonkers mechanics going. League of Legends a little more grounded.
Could you imagine if you could break jungle walls?
Think about
King finds Tankat, and oh my lord, he's going to get put to sleep by the lilting lullaby. Able to jump out from the stun as Thomas goes making his way over. Got the sand soldiers.
Oh,
they're going in for the shuffle. It's flashed away. Handcat. And now Thomas, you are in for a whole lot of hurt. Has to flash away himself as Kuzi now getting caught out. The headbutt pole. The sand soldiers doing work, and in slides KZ, putting the damage down as Pillar flashes. Aragon, just about. Pillar flashes to safety. That was close.
Yeah, very close, and unfortunately for Aragon, the combo not quite fast enough to send Pillar back. If he sends Pillar back, he has to use that ultimate, and if he uses the ultimate, well, he's probably sealing his own fate anyway.
Landing on the fat man.
Landing on the fat man. But King picking up his second kill of the game, certainly one of the... I mean, honestly, you're not really too fussed about who gets the kills if you're Barrage, as long as it's not Aragon or KDO. I mean, hell, even Gragas does a pretty fine job with gold these days. As honestly, it was Barrage getting caught out initially in the river, but they respond well. They have the numbers advantage, despite KZ actually being late on the rotation. He eventually makes it over with Killer Instinct.
Oh, hold on. Pillar has to, Thomas able to dodge away on the shield, and now Pillar's actually doing so much damage to him. He's going to get a bunch of damage in the return, but Thomas, I think you're a little bit too eager there as the Grand Starfall comes in. Rifty with a good Q might be able to find a snipe off as King may just look for the assassination. Pillar loses his life. Rifty jumps in. The flash by Thomas underneath the tower, dodges out the spears. Now he has the sand sword just to keep the vision up. King is going to chase. There's a blast cone though, and Rifty will be able to jump to safety, but King will be able to jump onto him any moment now. Slows him with the void spikes. In he jumps as Rifty gets the stun, and King will find the kill once the Aegis times out. Meanwhile, a knock-up lands onto Kuzi. and they do get a little bit of a something off onto KDO, but Kuzi now looking to turn this one around. Handcat's making his way forward, trying to put people to sleep as Kuzi burning to the Ignite, but doesn't quite go down. Now KDO's hooked up, goes for the head of KDO finds the kill as he goes down. Demise end up losing heavily on that fight.
Just give us a replay. Just let me... I need to catch my breath. So, Rifty uses that ultimate to get down here, trying to put pressure down on Thomas Go, and Pillar says, all right, I'll leave you to it, Rifty, but he doesn't take into account that King could be here, and Rifty doesn't quite find the angle on that spear. I don't even feel like it would have executed Thomas Go anyway. He had the pot ticking up, I think above that threshold, and Rifty, in all fairness, he buys a lot of time and sends a lot of damage back into King, but at the end of the day, he's almost always going to go down, and unfortunately, Demise's bottom lane dragged into this fight. And Kuzi not quite able to make it out. Now, Hankat's finally made his way up to the skirmish, and KZ does blow the flash to keep himself alive, but I mean, Kuzi does not need to return.
Yeah, it kind of felt like KDO was dead anyway.
Yeah.
There's that one. Meanwhile, Kuzi's getting blown up by King. King with a Gore Drinker able to do a lot of damage here.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a scary bug.
It's a scary bug now. Whilst, I mean, honestly, if it was a lethality Kha'Zix, he might have just outright killed him. The thing still is for this Kha'Zix is he's not really playing for that one-shot potential.
Apparently playing to die here. Jumps away, the Lilting Lullaby comes in, a massive shutdown. Xandru pulls the Infernal Trigger, and it's just an easy triple. Thomas has to slide away to safety, and Aragon is going to get caught out. Barrage literally grabbed the lead they had, opened the window, and just yeet it out.
Station for Barrage. Apparently, where they go. That was just really strange. King, yeah. You know what, Jake? I'll let you take the reins on the analysis of this.
All right. Well, they took the Herald down. All they should have done was gone for Dragon. But instead, King steps up, knowing a Nautilus can hook him. Massive Lilting Lullaby means everybody's locked in, and at this point, the teleports are committed. And Aragon instantly caught out. Thomas Short is able to dash away to safety, but they blew everything because King jumped forward under tower of a Nautilus about, and it was just really sloppy at play. And they end up losing 4 kills and the Dragon, which really slows the pace down when they had the lead. And now it's Demise who are up in gold.
Not only that, I actually didn't quite catch how big of a bounty King had on his head, but considering he was 4-0, I'm going to wager it was in like the 400 gold.
It was 700 gold.
Oh, he had a full set. Well, that's just 1k going.
No, it wasn't a 1k, it was a 700.
Oh, 700 total, right?
Yeah, 700 total is what they got for the kill.
Oh, so it was a 400 gold. Okay.
Yeah.
Maths.
Quick maths.
As King's actually now a level down on Honkat. Honkat's been silently farming away quite happily. Has the Leandri.
He's also 3-0 now.
He's also 3-0-2 himself, yeah. Both the junglers pretty fed in this game, and Xandru was also a pretty big benefit of that bottom side fight. 2-0-3 himself. Cole not quite finished up, it's on his way. Rifty could be the recipient of a lane gank. Has no flash. Oh, okay.
Aragon, you gotta hit those, buddy.
Yeah. You know, I saw a tweet last night, I think. Or maybe it was this morning. Where I can't remember who it was, but they said it feels like top laners just can't hit casks or can't hit like combos on Gragas if they're top laners. But junglers are always on point of it, and I feel like it's just so true.
To be fair to top laners, they've been on Ornn duty for about 2 years now, so mechanics have been slipping away from these guys.
True. Yeah, they've definitely been losing the mechanic. I mean, to be fair, Aragon got a fair few like Bruiser games this and last split actually.
He's one of the lucky few.
He's one of the lucky few.
I think it's madness that Ornn is still a viable champion after all this time. Like, he's never not been viable.
I think it just goes to prove how bonkers the kit was at release.
It's still bonkers.
I mean,
has there been a patch where Ornn is like straight up just a loss? Because it feels to me like
he's gone through those
Ornn
phases.
has been relevant, or at least somewhat kind of pickable. Maybe in certain lanes he's not been as good as he always is, but like it feels like he's always been somewhat viable top lane. since launch. Although Oriana's fairly similar. She's not always viable, but she feels like a fairly flexible pick. Because KDO is dead. Oh, no, he flashed. Okay, he's fine.
All right, Kuzi just wanted to tickle the big old cow. I mean, I feel like Oriana's good when other champions have.
Yeah. She's such a staple mid laner. Like, she
She's
always
just got a
feels
very
like
stable
something
kit.
anyone can fall back to. Essentially,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like a Zir as well in that sense. I guess a Zir's always kind of been something that people just naturally fallen back to. Like, the meme is always at Worlds, it's the Corki Azir Oriana meta.
Yeah, and don't speak those devilish-y. They've already come back to the LEC. Saw Corki show up.
Yeah, I'm
Actually,
very
thought
sad
Corki was
about Corki.
thought Corki was a really terrible champion, but then Magifelix just reminded me maybe he's not.
Yeah,
Did
there
you
was a
catch
massive
that
rant
game
about
back?
how bad he was actually over on the NLC.
Oh, was there?
Behind
oh
the
yeah,
scenes.
because who?
Behind the scenes there was anyway, and then we were kind of proven wrong when it won, and then it won.
Oh, that was literally us.
That was last week.
That was last week. I think that was.
Yeah, we're kind of setting trends over here in the UK scene and Nordics
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Gold lead kind of handily in Demise's favor as the third dragon approaches, and we know what we say about those third dragons. On the phone set. So
Looking to jump in bot lane here as Thomas gets caught out momentarily and Pillar just takes the trade, and Thomas, no time to respond. Stunned for the entirety of the burst. Pillar able to jump away.
it's kind of the annoying thing about this matchup is pretty much the same thing with Syndra as well, except with Syndra you have slightly better response tools, right? You've got the Sky of the Week, and also have the very large amount of burst you can use from that ultimate ability. With Azir though, it's what? Oh, okay, KDO, think about it. It's literally just the Emperor's Divide, and you can try your best to slide out of those parallel convergences, but if you don't, you'll eat in those trades and you just can't respond. Echo's too fast, he walks out. The slow doesn't really affect him because he's moving so fast off the passive prop. And Barrage gonna forego the third dragon potential curse.
Oh! Good hook into depth charge. That
Almost
everything. KZ's going to get put to sleep by the lilting lullaby as Handcat comes in and slams him with a watch out Eve as King, invisible for the moment, jumps in. There's the cast from Aragon onto multiple members. Xandru gets annihilated as the shutdown comes in. Another hook comes forward.
King.
And now King looking for a Handcat, able to find himself the kill, jumps away as he gets himself a very cheeky double. Pillar slides in with the Proto Belt and now chasing for King, but King can't go far as he's going to look for the hill, but the stuns are going to connect. And King will lose his life. Honestly, pretty close stuff from him. Meanwhile, Thomas is throwing sand at towers.
PV for the Barrage Academy top mid laner. As this is the Dredge line, it's just a very nice hit. KDO doesn't tank out for his AD carry player, and the bowling ball hits both, and means that they have to just be in full retreat here. And the cask is really nice, and I believe the body slam as well stops Xandru from casting the Inferno trigger, which honestly could have been a bit of a turning point or a full-on just wipe for Barrage. They are still wiped, but just means their AD carry is unfortunately a victim of the Barrage response. And honestly, looked a bit sketchy until the Swirling Seed came in. And I kind of cursed it because I said Barrage foregoing the third dragon curse, right? Fighting at that third dragon where there's a high end. But they still got fought onto anyway. Yeah.
Well, Barrage, I apologize for my co-caster.
Yeah.
Cursing you.
What can I say, man? Really powerful. This is slight mismatch. Tiger.
Wow, they are just injecting Thomas Go with all the gold now.
Well, I say mismanagement, but it's just that normally you don't want to ever have your AD carry and mid laner in the same place outside of team fight. Just wave high and by. But like you say, yeah, Thomas Go getting all the side lane resources. He's strong, but Pillar's matching him 1-to-1 in items. And certainly wins out on the side.
Yeah, although at the moment he's quite deep. It would be quite deep to go for anything here, and especially when King's about, it would be incredibly risky to try and kill Thomas there. Though, remember that tier 1 bot side is very low, and the gold lead 3,000 at the moment. It's not even, it's pretty close. Yeah, it's 3,000 exactly. 3,200. So if Thomas can take that down, some of the lock gold gets opened up. You know, a couple more fights like that, and things might change a little bit more positively for Barrage as Legacy Shurima gets put up, so Thomas has a safety zone to work behind as King does get hit by the Swirl Seed. 2 minutes until the Dragon comes up. So it might just be a bit of a farm fest until then. KZ wanting to get that Collector finished. These Swirl Seeds constantly looking for members of Barrage as they try to move around the map. That hit?
Yeah, it's got a cone. So it hit the wall and KZ was closer.
Man, I'll be tilted.
It's actually a very similar fashion of Lilia E, which clipped Harry in the game that Eminem actually lost to Demise. It hit the wall, clipped Harry, and then he got put to sleep. So yeah, that cone is actually pretty impactful. You'd be surprised. Quite literally got Demise one of their 2 wins throughout the entire split.
Thank you, Lilia.
Thank you, Lilia. Quiet time in between the objectives seems to be a thing.
It's chill time.
Yeah.
Wanted to finish up their items before the dragons come up, and 1 minute until that's up, so Barrage need to think about resets fairly soon. They're probably just going to clear out this last wave or 2 for KZ. Aragon's going to make sure he's here to get it. And we'll be looking to finish up a Collector, hopefully, for himself. He's down an item on Xandru. He's finished up his own Collector. 2, 1, and 7. Ooh. A lot of gold right now. Actually, before any action breaks out, can we have a quick toggle of the gold and see where we are? Oh, my lord, that AD difference is big.
But also, look at the top side.
Oh, that hit both of them. That's not good. That's not good at all. Great cast, though, by Aragon as KZ, he is taken out. Rifty slides in with the Grand Starfall and finds the kill. These Swirl Seeds are super impactful.
Yeah, Honka hitting strike after strike.
They're doing They're doing Baron. They're not doing Baron.
Yeah, that's not. And in the meanwhile, Demise is just going to pick up their 3rd dragon, so 1 away from Soul now. Once that does eventually fall. And Honka, I mean, he's favored the Lilia time and time again. He's never really been denied this champion. I would actually go out on a limb and say here that he's pretty much played it almost every game he's been present. But yeah. I remember one Talia game he played when he was introduced to this roster, when Fennec stepped down. In fact, whilst we're in the pause, you know where I'm going.
Off to your stats. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, this Swirl Seed is starting to be a real problem for KZ especially, but I mean, like you said, it's got a cone. If it hits someone, it's going to splash to whoever's nearby, so probably best just to cut your losses and not try and run to your mid lane so you both get put to sleep. Luckily, Thomas was able to shuffle away to safety, but KZ, you know, he's running the exhaust, not the cleanse, so is honestly likely to fall victim to the CC that Demise have, and 0, 3, and 4 right now on the Kai'Sa. It's starting to look a little bit risky. Now we are having a couple of mic issues on Barrage, so hopefully we'll be getting back into game fairly soon. But have you got that stat for me?
Yeah. So Honka has in the last 4 games picked up the Lilia. Prior to that was on Hecarim and Talia. I've closed the tab. There was one other champion, but I can't remember what it is anymore. So that is going to be forever lost unless somebody wants to go and look it up themselves. But yeah, like I said, favored the Lilia nonetheless. And obviously very comfortable as he continually hits these basically cross-map Swirl Seeds.
Yeah.
And it's basically kind of just setting up Demise for potentially their 3rd win here. They are 5,000 or 4,500 gold up. And the typical trend for the last 2 weeks or so has realistically just been whoever seems to be in the lead at these kind of, 20-minute marks, even as early as 15, they tend to just run away with the game. So let's see if Barrage can break that trend. Right now, I look at the inventories, I don't feel like
it's king. Like, yeah. It's all king this game at the moment. They're going to need a bunch of time. As you actually see, this is him getting first blood.
Yeah, okay, so somebody said that KDO. Oh, okay. No, see, I'm a bonehead. KDO's stun auto actually went on to Kuzi. So
Oh, is that what you thought?
Yeah,
happened?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I thought that Alistar auto attack went on to Samira and she blocked it with the W. It wasn't the case. He stunned Alistar, so that's my bad for having poor eyesight, and unfortunate Cask wasn't quick enough there to flip Pillar back into the team. As yeah, this was comical actually. King doing Karzak's things, picking up the low HP target Rifty, not able to find the spear. It's been an interesting opener to this game.
Definitely, and like this was the point where Barrage were ahead.
Yes.
This is the good point. The reason things have gotten this dire was King.
I'm gonna go out.
King's also on like the forefront of why they got ahead. He's also the reason they got behind. That tower dive he did into a Nautilus was just so questionable.
It wasn't really a tower dive. It was just a really strange positioning. Unless he did dive forward. I imagine that we're gonna maybe have that.
We're gonna get that. Here it
right,
is. So look at this.
Oh,
Jumps.
oh wait. Okay, it's just
he wasted his leap into a Nautilus.
Yeah, not ideal. And even worse, 2 teleports committed to salvage an already doomed scenario. And Aragon just unfortunately pays for it with his life. Thomas go a little more mobile.
And like, I guess like the one thing is like, you look at this, and if you're doing a coaching session on this game, it's not like it's like this is where you went wrong. I think King knows what he did wrong there.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those moments where you don't even, as a coach, quite literally speaking from experience, you don't even really bring up. It's just like, this was bad. This shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I would be more curious to know why the call happened for the double teleport. No one should commit teleports to that situation. As see here, Demise just taking full advantage of that Thomas Go did not actually opt to teleport down to that fight. And from that point onwards, it's felt pretty Demise favored.
Well, don't worry, Aragon. I believe a couple of because Aragon in the chat was talking about how hopefully we're not showing any replays of him whiffing his R. I'm pretty sure there was one of you whiffing your R in that package. So feels bad, man. Don't miss. Issues are resolved, and we are getting ready to go back into the game. So hopefully we'll be getting back onto the Rift any second now to resolve our 4th and final game of the second to last week here at the UKLC. I can't believe it. Week 5, Jamada. Time has flown by so quick.
Yeah, we've flown through. Feels like it happened the same way in summer as well. The weeks do just go by, especially in our cases working NLC as well, same time.
It's because it feels like the run-up to like these seasons feels like so long. Like I was itching to get back onto cast.
Yeah, it felt
for so long.
Such a long off season.
I mean, this was an extra long off season because we like normally I quite enjoy the long off season because it's like quite an intense work schedule for the year, and then you have a lot of free time to hang out with friends and family and get festive. And this year it was just sadness. Yeah. Nothing but sadness.
Nothing but sadness.
Just pain.
Only pain. Speaking of people who are likely in pain, Barrage fans looking at this game state.
Gotta do them dirty like that, Chief.
Well, they are currently behind 4,000 gold to a team who's practically struggled to beat anyone in the...
At least King is stacking longswords and not tears. It's not that bad yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I wonder what his 3rd item's gonna be.
Uh-oh.
Oh? Did he hit?
Nah, they're not. Okay, it missed. It missed.
Oh, kick.
King got blue buff, but that wasn't what I was owing. There was a swirl seed flying towards the AD carry, but don't worry, KZ bait. No, he didn't reset. Decided not to. Actually, we can see the individual golds right now, but as we talk back to the items, we can see that Xandru's finished up the collector, got the BF sword on the way, and we haven't even got all of the components for KZ's collector. I believe after this wave, he should have enough gold. I think it's like 1,300 at this point.
I mean, he can sell the call. He can sell the call.
Oh, yeah, he can sell the call. Okay, yeah, he should have the collector now then.
Yeah.
And Doran.
Oh, he didn't even have to sell the call. I mean...
That's 1,100. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Math's good, me.
Math's good. I liked maths since in school, despite me not being
fond
of school.
I hated maths so much. I passed GCSE maths after 4 attempts at it. No, 3 attempts at it.
You know what? Honestly, the GCSE maths is a bit of a pain. The exam. Like, I feel like the exam is quite difficult.
Yeah.
As an exam should
tough.
be, obviously, but talking relativity.
I hate maths.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like maths is a subject where it depends a bit on the teacher. Have a good teacher.
I know. I did have a quite good maths teacher, although he didn't know my name.
Really?
He was my maths teacher for a lot of my secondary school years. He basically followed me for my lessons. As Baron is getting snuck. I'll talk about Mr. Musa Van Garner in a minute, because Barrage
The Mice don't even know.
Take this down.
They know now because of the blue string.
It's too late. They just got Baron. Fair play, Barrage. Pillar. He's going to get some free time. He has a Nash's, but even so, he's not going to really be able to take it too quick. That is a massive pickup. Is someone going to get that wave?
No.
Thomas is. Okay.
Is he going to get the cat?
Nope. Oh, yes.
He got it. He got it. He got it. All right. Victory. Demise fought with their pants down. No way to talk about it. More focused on this Mountain Dragon setup. As you can see, the vision toggle observer highlighting just that. Obviously, Barrage have no vision in the bottom side any longer, so it's going to be tricky to approach the mountain spawn when it shows up, but they now have the Baron buff stats to buff up their combat. Which could honestly be the difference maker when you're talking about a 3,000, 4,000 gold lead. Sort of closing that up to what should be in-game kind of close to a 2,000. It makes the fight more reasonable to win as Farncast's been jumped onto.
Has been, gets chunked out pretty heavily. Look for that swirl seed. Doesn't hit onto Thomas. Thomas able to sidestep that. And now, Demise, they may just have to give this up. Although, odds are they're not going to want to, as the swirl seed once again gets thrown down. King is here.
This is bad for Barrage. This is bad. They're going to have to give up mid-prio. They're going to have to give up mid-prio. Demise can go back to mid lane right here and just shove up, catch the wave really high. And no one's pressing tab and realizing that the Dragon's not spawning for another wave. So I guess we're just going to dance here for a little bit longer.
For King, got the Sterix, got the Gore Drinker, so is able to actually jump in, do a lot of damage and survive as Void Seekers are coming out, Swirl Seeds will be going out as well. Everybody's getting things thrown at them. Rifty finds King as King actually looks to put the damage into him, pops the blast code to rejoin his team. Dragon's up. And Demise, they're all the ones on the inside track. King's trying to look for that flank. Handcat getting slowed and zoned, but on the flank comes Pillar.
Yeah.
Big wave crashing in on the bot side, so their priority there to work with. As now they're making their way forward. In the wrong spot. They get the 2-man pole. They get a lot of damage off. The cast is going to send Xandru out of the fight. He's not even in there. Sleeping Sleet is coming down as KZ's looking for Xandru. Going to find himself the assassination off another. Pulverized onto multiple members. And Thomas is just free firing on the back line. Finds himself a double kill as Demise are losing members left, right, and center. Barrage have just done it. Rifty jumps in forward. Unable to find it. Pillar. KZ flashes away to safety. And the minions are doing the damage. King gets the shutdown. And Barrage find the ace.
Barrage find the ace, the Baron buff enough to give them the combat stats to actually take this fight, despite the gold deficit they find themselves in. And this is such a big amount of breathing room to be given. They're going to be able to take down the Mountain Dragon, and it's going to delay that soul spawn up for one more cycle. We're going to get a replay here, and you see Pillar's looking for this flank angle, and once Barrage recognize that it's technically a 4v5 until he shows up, it's just an immediate engage, and beautiful cast from Aragon. And at this point, once Parallel Convergence comes down, it looks a bit messy, but on the top side of the screen, KZ assassinates Xandru, and from that moment on, the Demise don't really have any more consistent damage dealers, as Thomas goes effectively just allowed to slice at the health bars of Demise with all of the Sand Soldiers down. The DPS was still available for Barrage, and unfortunately for Pillar, not able to pick up KZ on the back end. King just flashes forward to pick up the 600 gold shutdown. All of a sudden, the gold deficit, practically non-existent. Only really 700 in it as all Kuzi.
Looking for it. They get the headbutt, they get the pole as Kuzi. He's out of there.
He's out of there, and what a big momentum shift from 5 minutes ago, where we was actually honestly saying Demise primed, potentially ready to secure what could look like their third win, but very heads-up Baron play from Barrage, recognizing that Demise had all of their priority on the bottom side, all their vision on the bottom side. Azir with the Kai'Sa. And also, I mean, the Kha'Zix's isolation damage too is such a fast 20-minute Baron. Now here we are. Demise, honestly, kind of, it feels like staring down the barrel of a potential loss yet again.
Staring down the barrel of relegation.
Relegation, really, yeah.
They can't afford to drop a single game. It is confirmed after one loss that they will be playing in the relegation tournament. As their jungle is being stripped from them. 1 minute 20 until the Baron comes up. I think it's just a bit of a reset time as trying to spend that gold. Rifty has a GA finished up. This is a big moment now. Let's see what the gold's going to be. So stopwatch gets picked up for KZ on this base. Probably building towards most likely a Zhonya's. We've seen a lot of Zhonya's shifts here. You can see the gold graph on your screen just fell off the face of a cliff.
Yeah. It's a pretty big fumble from Demise. We have seen them, I believe, actually drop a gold lead similar to this as well. It's not the first time they've been in the lead and dropped it. As King, you can see he's not actually reset with the rest of the team. Probably going to take a reset relatively soon because I feel like he's got gold for the Guardian Angel. That broken stopwatch. That's why I imagine his next item's going to be. There you go. Fix that one up.
Well, the hard to kill bug's getting harder to kill while doing crazy damage still.
Yeah, and not only that, also something that Orcs has ever so eloquently taught me. Take a look at the inventory, see double stopwatch for both of the carriers for Barrage Academy. They're ready for the next fight. They feel like next fight likely going to be the final one, or at the very least the sort of nail in the coffin fight. And having something like a stopwatch can really be game changing. As there might
not even be a fight. Pillar has to use the Chrono Shirek break instantly to get away.
It's very dangerous.
I mean, the Soldier's up, Baron's up, and with Pillar having a reset, this could just be Baron. They're going to look to spot them out here, though. We're in for a bit of a scrap. The teleports are coming in. Remember, no Chrono break available yet. Baron half health. King actually has been hit by the Swirl Seed. Lilting Lullaby could get thrown out for the moment as KZ jumps into the backline. Rifty comes. Big shuffle onto the backline. KZ firing away. He's got the Hurricane. He can fire. Everybody's getting put to sleep. It's just a quick nap, though, as they wake up refreshed. 3 members already low. Kuzi going to get interrupted.
Wow.
And Pillar loses his life as KZ looks for Kuzi. Sliding in. Able to take him down. Rifty's going to cancel his recall, but KZ gets the double kill. It was just a power nap for Barrage.
Yeah, power nap. Pankart just giving Barrage that final little bit of rest before what looks like is going to be the game end here. Realistically, I don't think Rifty has enough wave clear, has enough manpower to hold out 5 members of Barrage still alive. Almost as good as a clean ace in a game state like this. Rifty, I don't know, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah, he's going to try it, but he's going to get instantly popped out. Sterix gets popped. He has still got a GA, but honestly, Barrage is just ignoring him right now. The Nexus has been laid bare. 33 minutes on the clock. They're going to force out the res, but it's not going to be enough. Barrage knocked Demise into relegations and keep their playoff dreams alive.
Keep their playoff dreams alive. And Barrage, it looked shaky in the mid game for a minute. Demise finally sort of showing a little more life once again. It's not like it's not there, but this time not quite able to get across the finish line. A very nice heads-up Baron play from the members of Barrage to actually keep themselves relevant in that game, and using the Baron buff to effectively go and skirmish at the Mountain Soul results in them being able to not only deny the Mountain Soul away from Demise, but also pull sort of ahead in gold state, in a map state, not necessarily in the gold lead, but they were able to then take another favorable fight off the back of it. And from there, they can't really keep up with the scaling in team fights of the Azir and the Kai'Sa, and they just fall to the wayside.
Honestly, an incredible play to actually pull what was a really, really dire situation of a game back for Barrage. And, you know, that win there is important because it keeps them tied with Enclave in the standings as well, who won their game earlier. Eminem and Bulldog are still technically tied with each other as well. So there is still some tying up here at the moment, but we actually have 4 teams in 4th right now. So there are 4 promotion spots, 4 playoff spots. What's wrong with me? There's 4 playoff spots which are kind of softly written down. Only one of those is set in stone. London, I believe, just need 1 more win and then they are locked in. Yeah, they're 1 win away from locking their spot in, and, you know, great stuff. And there's only 2 games left finding a win here is super important. So Barrage probably very happy with finding that win. But I think there are still some questions after, that play bot lane. And I don't think that's like down to a team issue or
I think
it was just a confidence play, which backfired heavily.
No, I don't know what King was thinking. Just to be plain and simple, I think the bigger issue is actually the response to the play.
Yes.
The fact that the double teleport was also committed to it, it's just a little bit too much. They could have realistically been aced if Thomas Go was on a slightly less mobile champion. Thomas Go would have died as well, and it would have been a clean ace. They would have picked up the Herald, and they could have realistically gone on to take the win were it not for the Baron takedown, which they managed to sneak under the noses of Demise.
Yeah, I like, honestly, if I was if I was Barrage there, I think it is just like that's the biggest issue. It was the fact they all went for that play. They could have just cut their losses and died, just lost their Kha'Zix instead of getting aced, and honestly putting that game into a really, really weird place. But I think also you do have to give big shouts out to the team to make that Baron play and make that comeback, because it was looking hairy, and for them they proved their worth and they proved their strength. But yeah, I think what we're gonna do is, while we wait for our interview with Thomas Goes, he's getting prepped and ready, Jamada is gonna start drawing. So are you ready to break down your favorite moment of that game?
Yeah, so this is the crucial Mountain Soul fight where Barrage have secured the Baron buff for themselves. You can see Pillar down here looking for a flank, and he's just trying to make it all the way behind so he can find a nice parallel convergence. And on the other side, we have basically the remainder of Barrage sort of scattered a little bit, but mostly in the river. And I'll get the play sort of going. And what's really important here is, as Pillar's approaching that bottom side, you can see that this ward, I'm not actually sure who pings it, but actually spots out Pillar. And from that moment on, this is just the immediate engage here from Aragon and KDO. It's a very nice headbutt pulverize combo into the cask. Unfortunately, Xandru is able to flash away for it. In that case, could have been far more disastrous. And once this parallel convergence goes down, it looks really messy, but look at your top side of the fight. KZ's basically just assassinating Xandru one-on-one before he can even cast the Infernal trigger. Hankar gets taken down by King, and all the while, Thomas Go's just been hitting away at everybody with what I believe is 3 Sand Soldiers. So lethal tempo, the attack speed steroid, everything else front-loaded into his kit. Thomas Go probably dealt the most damage by a landslide in that fight because he effectively went untouched, whilst Demise just kind of sat there in a clump sitting in the soldiers.
Could you actually reverse this back once this is done as well? Because I'd love to, like, he got put to sleep by Handcat and no one did anything to him. So if we go all the way back to when he got put to sleep, a bit further from that. Okay, we're coming back to us.
Well, we've come back to us, but I don't know. It's fine. Yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
So he gets put to sleep here. He's knocked up.
One more.
And all right, there we go.
So he's put to sleep. And that's really unfortunate. So I think.
Oh, he got woken up.
No, he was still. No. He was still asleep coming out of it, but no one's actually able to touch.
Yeah.
Thomas Go, because I mean, Hankart dies to Thomas Go, and the remainder of the members are focused on trying to take down KDO and Aragon, so they're not actually able to approach him. And
yeah, honestly, really good stuff. Okay,
yeah,
now Max, you can bring it back to our wonderful faces. Yeah, that was honestly, I remember seeing that in the fight, being like, oh wow, Thomas Go just had, the lilting lullaby as the only member put to sleep, and it didn't matter because no one hit him, no one did anything to him. Let's actually bring the man we were just talking about into this. Thomas, how you doing, mate?
I guess I'm doing fine, even though it was quite a poor game.
Yeah, it was definitely a closer game than probably it needed to be. With that bot lane play where it kind of crumbled a bit for you guys, what was the call? Why did everyone just decide to commit to that fight when it kind of started on a bit of a bad pick for you anyway?
Well, I actually didn't even see what actually happened down there. I think it was King that made a poor decision, and we were just like, oh, we fighting this, and I was just on instinct trying to TV bot lane, and when I looked bot lane, I saw that they were all dead, and I was kind of like, well, I better get out.
It's the Barrage mentality. Everyone goes down with the ship. I appreciate the cosplay coming out from everyone with the double teleport. But I just want to ask as well, in that game, you guys got a really nice Baron sneak away, which kind of turned the tides of the tone of the game. I just wanted to ask who actually made that call, because it was very on their toes to recognize Demise probably wouldn't have any information on that side of the map.
I mean, we already talked about that we wanted to give this Drake, and we wanted to prioritize on Baron, like I think around 2.5 minutes in like in 2.5 minutes before it actually happened, and so we were just looking for the right opportunity, and we were just like, the idea wasn't even to kill it in the start because we thought there was no way that they will be this oblivious about like the call, but it just turned out that they saw it when it was around like 3k, so we could just take it and get out with nothing happening.
I'd like to talk of playoffs. So obviously Resolve are locked in. London are pretty much a shoe-in. I'm going to assume that you guys think that you'll make it. So let's talk about who you think is going to be the fourth out of these kind of 3 teams that are left that could potentially make it. Potentially 5 if you count Envision as well. Who do you think is going to make it to playoffs with you guys?
I think it's kind of weird because I think there's no consistency in the league right now. Like, I think anyone can win, but I would like to say that like Eminem would, because I just think they're in a slump right now, and I do think that Eminem's players are kind of good. So I do think they can just manage to clutch it out. But if not, I think like Enclave have found their strengths and like what they want to do. So if they can like keep on getting these free drafts because no one is like actually preparing against them, I think they will be the 4th team, since we believe that we will beat them very easily and take the first spot.
Yeah, well, congratulations, mate. Honestly, you are so close to making playoffs, and after what was a really hard summer split for you, not finding a single win, and a pretty rough start as well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Speak to you later, mate. All right.
Very kind-spoken.
Individual
Thomas Go. Quite enjoy having him on the interviews. But I think probably shares the sentiment of most of the top side teams, still believing Eminem could make it. And I mean, last split, Eminem in their final 3 weeks basically fumbled 2 out of 3 of them, and then 2-0'd the final week to just about scratch it into playoffs. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe they're just looking to repeat that. Apparently, mid-season woes seems to be Eminem Academy's thing.
Good job you in your racing chair, Jamada. Let's hop into our DeLorean and start to run back through time a little bit and look at some of the action we had going on in today's game. So, starting off with the Eminem versus London game. Eminem, honestly, as much as Thomas goes down praises about them, they are in bad form at the moment.
Yeah, they are in very bad form. Still can't really hide that elephant. And yeah, it's definitely sad to see, especially when they look like such an explosive team at the start of the split. But London right now, I mean, in the last 5 or 6 games, they've only dropped a game to Resolve. So it was always going to be a tough matchup, irregardless of how you looked at it. And here, it's Resolve business as usual. Envision, they gave themselves an okay enough shot draft-wise at winning this game, but they just played a little too scared, in my opinion. They're really willing to commit ultimates forward for a majority of the game. And by the time that they felt like doing it, they just never did. And unfortunately for them, it means that they remain in the bottom 2, and here only Enclave, I beg your pardon, and Bulldog battling it out. And Enclave, honestly, finally sort of coming to fruition on expectations for this roster, could potentially actually lock in playoffs come next week.
Yeah, and this is obviously our final game of the day, where things were looking a little hairy at times. I mean, this was one of the fights where it could have gone worse for Barrage, considering the state of the game, but they were able to get a little something here. I believe King did die at the end. Yeah, he did. Didn't have the hysterics quite yet.
And from this point, it's like, okay, well, Demise, they can likely close out with a lead like that, and they did not. They unfortunately, like Thomas Go said, were oblivious to the Baron attempt occurring right under their noses. They were in mid lane whilst it was happening, and they go Baron. The stats enable Barrage to actually fight them, and not only that, it was obviously a very positive standing fight for Barrage because Thomas Go went untouched. 3 Sand Soldiers out, just sort of dealing out, dashing out the DPS, and at that point, really, Azir in the late game, you're not really going to be able to keep up with the damage, especially when Zandru got assassinated by KZ in the manner that he did.
Yeah.
They kind of fumble, and with that, they are guaranteed relegations too.
Well, Max, bring up the standings. Let's see where everybody is at the end of today. It's going to be Resolve 12-0. Then London underneath them, 1 win away from securing a playoff spot. Barrage and Enclave tied in 3rd and 4th. Eminem and Bulldog tied in 5th and 6th, and Vision trailing behind in 7th, and now Demise locked in to the relegation tournament where they will have to play versus one of the UKEL teams to see if they can hold their spot here. And, you know, while we're at it, do we actually have next week's matches? Max?
Let's see how on.
Hey, he's ahead of it. Perfect. So we'll be starting off next week with Barrage versus Eminem. Very, very important game for both of those teams. Then it's Vision versus Demise. And Vision, like, if they lose, they are locked into relegations, I believe, as well. So Demise just looking to bring someone down with them. Then it's Enclave versus London. And then it is Bulldog versus Resolve. So Bulldog, you talked about their roughs last week. They have to play Resolve and London. Yeah. It's going to be pretty scary stuff for them.
And I'm not going to lie, I feel like the schedule a little bit unfortunate for them. The fact that they have to play Resolve first, depending on how bad that loss is, depending on their mentality, of course, it can kind of shake a team off kilter, especially in the nature that Resolve have been taking down most of the teams in the back end of the split. And honestly, eyes towards, for me particularly, that first game of the day on Sunday, Eminem and Barrage. It was actually the same matchup at the end of the split. Eminem, I think the final game that they played in regular split was Barrage to actually make it into playoffs. This time it's the first game of this final weekend for them. Last time, Barrage should have taken the game. We'll have to see whether they will sort of, as an organization, take revenge on them and secure, or at least sort of make the first steps in securing that playoff spot.
Well, as a quick note, it's not Max who's bringing up these graphics, it's someone else, and Max has just been bathing in their glory. He's a scumbag like that. It's sad. And do you know what else is sad? This is the end of week 5. There is still one more regular week of the UKLC. We'll be back on Sunday for more of that action. But don't worry, there's more UK League of Legends to come. And Nordics as well. Because starting tomorrow, we got 3 days of the NLC, starting up at 6 o'clock, same time as we do for the UKLC. And, you might as well get your eyes on some of these Telia leagues as well that are coming up, because they will be the teams that will be playing versus our top 2 teams here from the UKLC for a chance to make it to the NLC. So there's so much League of Legends to watch. I mean, what are you doing still here? You got to go catch up on all the action. We'll see you next week on Sunday for more League of Legends action.
If you want to find love, then you gotta have faith. The world is on your side. The world is on your side. If you wanna find love, then you got to have faith. The world will be your guide. The world will be your guide. No, I don't care. No one can tear you down. We'll lift you up. It's about here and now. You're gonna find love.